The Dow diving, layoffs percolating, and big name companies like Mickey D's seeing fewer customers buying. Will all of this send unemployment climbing? Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears, and here they are, the Bulls and Bears this week. Gary B. Smith, Tracy Burns, Jonas Max Ferris, John Layfield, along with Mark Hanna. Welcome to everybody. Okay, Gary B., lots of red arrows on Wall Street, on Main Street. Should we be bracing for more pink slips?
I think so, Brenda, and I think at the root of the problem is people just aren't spending. Look at the number of companies, the names of the companies that have announced poor earnings or, at a minimum, a poor forecast. We have Walmart, we have Sears, we have places like GameStop, Best Buy, Gap. I mean, Christmas was really poor, and it's just, I don't see it getting any better. And if it's not getting better, if the consumer is not spending, it's almost impossible for the vast majority of the companies that make up the S&P 500 to grow. And if they aren't growing, they aren't hiring. Simply put, I think we've seen our best days in the past few months of unemployment. I think it starts to go back up.
Mark, what do you think?
I think that there's a reason consumers are not spending. They don't have the money in their pocket to do so. There's no question when the middle class has a ton of money, they're going to inject it into the American economy. They're going to spend it, and it's going to circulate. And no question it will be a big boost for those stocks, those companies. They can hire, they can, and the reason this is happening is because the recovery we've seen over the past couple of years has disproportionately affected in a positive way the well-off already. And I think most of your panelists will agree with me on this. We've seen the stock market recover. We've seen housing prices go up, but we haven't seen wages increase. We haven't seen the minimum wage increase, for example. We haven't seen this recovery distributed and shared by all Americans.
Well, first of all, if we agree with what you say, upper class people do spend, but I'm not sure everybody agrees with that. And John, what do you say? What do you say? Is unemployment going to keep climbing because we're having problems in the economy?
I think so. And look, this has zero to do with things like the minimum wage. The middle class is disappearing because wealth is created different. Look at a company like Twitter. They're a $33 billion market cap company with 2,300 employees. Compare that to ArcelorMittal, which has $29 billion market cap, but 239,000 employees, 100 times the employees for less market cap. That's how wealth is being created. And the problem we're seeing right here is we still have a net loss in jobs since President Obama has taken office, since the recession. We have the lowest labor force participation rate since March of 1978. We see Target, we see Macy's, we see JCPenney, we see Target laying off people. There are a lot of positives out there, but the negatives that we see, especially with natural gas rising and costs rising for all people, are starting to take effect in this stock market and this economy.
Jonas, John doesn't paint a very pretty picture. Do you think it's going to get any better?
Well, I'm not as pessimistic about the situation. I will say if the stock market keeps going down like it just did this last week and we go down like 10%, then I would say, to Gary's point, unemployment would go up because, to our guest point, there has been a huge wealth effect. The stock market had its best year last year since the mid-90s, and that lifts a lot of boats, particularly at the top. And there's a trickle-down effect in the economy. People spend a lot of money. They feel richer. They wiped out a lot of the losses that happened in the 07, 08, 09 crash. And if the market goes down for whatever reason, abroad, interest rates, it's going to make people spend less, and that would lead to higher unemployment. So the direction of unemployment would go back up.
Tracy, what do you think about that?
I think that all the policies coming out of the Obama administration have backfired, and they've hurt the middle class, lower class people. They have. And you know what? If the reverse effect happened, that is no one's fault but the White House's. And what's happening to middle America is still what's been happening for years now. Uncertainty out of D.C., increasing my taxes. If I don't know what's going to happen, I still don't know what's happening with Obamacare. Are people getting laid off? Are they going part-time? Who the heck knows? Why would you want to spend anything? All you're going to hear out of the financial pundits over the next few weeks is no top-line growth. That means no revenue, no sales. People are not buying stuff because they still don't know what the heck is going on out there.
All right, Mark, she says uncertainty is causing a lot of this.
Yeah, I have to take issue with Obama's policies being responsible for this. You can't blame them on everything. These are historic trends that have been happening for the past 40 years.
We should just blame Bush, Mark.
We can blame, no, look, what we can blame is this idea of trickle down, that somehow the rich are putting money back into the economy instead of putting it in offshore accounts or investing it in foreign stocks. Listen to me. This has been, economic inequality is as bad as it's ever been since 1928. You want to talk about historical trends, and we remember what happened after 1928. There's a reason why middle-class people aren't spending money. It's not because of Obamacare and uncertainty. It's because they just don't have the money in their wallets right now.
Okay, Gary B., take him on.
Well, Brenda, let's talk about the trickle down. The last time we had a huge boom in the economy when the upper 1% got fabulously wealthy was during the internet years, when you had guys like Mark Cuban becoming billionaires and Jeff Bezos and, you know, many other companies that created during that great internet boom we had under Reagan. And what happened then? While you had billionaires created, you had an unemployment rate below 5%. Even the U6, the people, you know, total that had given up looking for jobs, was about 6%. You had one of the greatest booms in the economy and in employment that way because rich people got really rich, and guess what? They hired a lot of people to work for those companies. So this whole income inequality argument is silly. We can't just redistribute it around and make the employment rate go back down to 5%.
And Jonas, you know, 74% in a recent poll of Americans think that we're still in a recession. If you think it, is that going to basically make it true?
Only if you behave differently than you did the year before. You'd have to spend less than you did the last year. And those people would have to be spending enough collectively to counter the 20-odd% that don't think we're in a recession or spending money because their portfolios are wealthier. Some of those people are spending 20, 30, 40 times as much as the pessimists. But, you know, circling back to what can I tell you? I mean, if the market tanks, it's not good because we have an economy more and more tied to the stock market. And to the original point about the number of employees at Twitter, it's kind of interesting because people are creating wealth with fewer employees, and so unemployment is going to be higher. That's just the direction the economy is going. It's not like 100 years ago where you started an oil conglomerate, you had thousands and thousands of employees. It really can be done on a small amount of people today, and that's where the wealth's being created. So you just don't need the hiring. Even the 90s .com boom, it's fewer employees behind these companies today.
But I think part of it too, Brenda, talk to any small business owner, all their expenses are going up. You know, heating costs, you name it. Propane is higher nowadays. Like, everything is more expensive. And that's why they don't have money to spend, because they're spending it all just to keep the lights on. There's no way they're going to have extra money in their pocket to hire an extra employee. They're struggling to keep the ones they have.
You know, John, Jonas brought up the wealth effect, which is if the stock market's higher, if your house is worth more, you feel richer, so you might spend more. Is the obverse, is the contrast true as well?
Oh, sure it is. I mean, people look at their 401ks all the time, and if the stock market's down, their 401k is down. They don't feel that wealth effect, and so they don't spend as much money. Look, we have the most dysfunctional government, I think, in the history of governments anywhere in this world. And their policies have killed the middle class. Look, workers went from manufacturing to housing. Those were both, housing was a bubble. Those workers right now don't have jobs anywhere, and there is no middle class. The rich have gotten richer. Poverty is now at almost 50 million people in America, and there is nothing out there from this government or anybody else to help with job growth. Job growth is what we need.
But Gary B., the market is still up. In the last 12 months, it's up. The Dow is up some 15%. There was a lot of money made.
Yeah, there was, Brenda. And you know what? I guess, I forget who on the panel made the point. I guess Jonas said that a lot of the reason that the companies made money and showed good earnings was because they were able to cut costs. They were able to increase productivity while not hiring back the workers. We need industries like the fracking industry to come be the next internet, or some energy, or something new that we haven't even thought of. And in order to do that, we need to take the shackles off business. Right now, government is burdening companies, as John said, with too many regulations, too many taxes, and too many things like Obamacare in order to grow. Everyone's afraid to take a step forward, and yet that's what we need.
Okay, last word. Thanks, guys.